Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss more thoughtful stories and discussions like this one. Your support really helps the channel grow and reach more people who enjoy deep conversations about life, morality, and human choices. Imagine a moment of pure panic. You are controlling a fast-moving trolley racing down a track, completely out of control. Ahead, you see 5 workers who will certainly die if nothing changes. Your brakes have failed, and stopping is impossible. Just as despair sets in, you notice a side track. On that track stands a single worker. You can turn the trolley, saving 5 lives but knowingly causing the death of 1. This situation forces an immediate choice, one that most people instinctively make without needing complex calculations. Many feel that saving the greater number is the obvious answer. In such moments, logic seems to demand that minimizing loss of life is the most moral action available, even though the cost is tragic. The discomfort comes from realizing that a decision must be made at all, and that neutrality itself becomes a choice. Doing nothing does not remove responsibility. It simply allows a different outcome. This kind of dilemma exposes how deeply we value human life and how quickly we are forced to rank lives when circumstances become extreme and unforgiving. When people are asked what they would do in this situation, the majority say they would turn the trolley. Their reasoning often sounds simple and practical. It feels wrong to allow 5 people to die when 1 life could be sacrificed instead. The logic follows a numerical comparison, where fewer deaths seem morally preferable to more deaths. This reasoning does not come from cruelty, but from a desire to reduce harm. Many also explain their decision by referencing real-life tragedies, moments when people made heartbreaking choices to prevent even greater disasters. In those cases, individuals are sometimes praised as heroes, not because their actions were painless or perfect, but because they acted to protect the largest number of people possible. Still, even those who choose to turn the trolley often feel uneasy about it. The discomfort remains because the decision involves actively causing harm, not merely allowing events to unfold. That tension between intention and outcome is where moral reflection begins. It is not an abstract puzzle. It mirrors the kind of impossible decisions people sometimes face in war, emergencies, or disasters, where every option carries pain. A smaller group of people refuse to turn the trolley. Their reasoning usually sounds very different. They worry about the mindset behind sacrificing 1 person for the sake of many. To them, once we accept the idea that killing 1 innocent person is justified by a greater good, we open the door to dangerous thinking. History offers painful examples of how such logic has been used to justify atrocities, oppression, and mass violence. From this perspective, choosing not to act feels like a refusal to play the role of executioner. Even if the outcome is worse numerically, they believe there is a moral line that should not be crossed. This view emphasizes intention and moral limits rather than results. It suggests that some actions are wrong in themselves, regardless of how beneficial their consequences might appear. For these individuals, morality is not a math problem. It is about preserving human dignity and refusing to treat a person as a tool or a number. Their position forces us to ask whether morality should ever allow us to deliberately kill an innocent person, even in the name of saving others. Now consider a variation that deeply unsettles people. This time, you are not controlling the trolley at all. You are standing on a bridge, watching as the trolley speeds toward 5 workers. You cannot stop it. You feel helpless until you notice a large man standing next to you, leaning over the edge. If you push him onto the track, his body would stop the trolley, killing him but saving the 5 workers ahead. Suddenly, the same principle that felt clear before becomes far more disturbing. When asked whether they would push the man, most people refuse. Even those who were confident about turning the trolley now hesitate or flatly reject this option. The numbers have not changed, 1 life versus 5. Yet the moral reaction is completely different. This shift reveals something important about how people think about responsibility, intention, and direct harm. Pushing someone feels like a personal act of violence. It feels like murder, carried out with one's own hands. The emotional and moral weight of that action feels heavier than pulling a lever, even if the outcome is similar. People struggle to explain this difference, but their explanations reveal hidden moral instincts. Some say that in the first case, everyone involved was already part of the dangerous situation. The worker on the side track, like the five ahead, was already on the tracks. In the second case, the man on the bridge was not involved at all. By pushing him, you would be dragging an innocent bystander into a deadly situation he otherwise would have escaped. Others argue that the difference lies in action versus inaction, or in using someone as a means to an end. Pushing the man feels like using his body as a tool to stop the trolley, which many find morally repugnant. These reactions suggest that morality is not only about outcomes, it is also about how those outcomes are achieved. The method matters. The directness of harm matters. And the idea of deliberately using a person as an instrument triggers a powerful moral resistance in many people. The discussion becomes even more complex when we move away from trolleys and into medical settings. Imagine you are an emergency room doctor faced with 6 patients after a serious accident. 5 have moderate injuries and can be saved with timely care. 1 is critically injured and would require all your time and resources, during which the 5 would die. If you focus on the 5, the 1 will almost certainly die. Most people feel comfortable choosing to save the 5 in this scenario. Again, the logic of numbers seems acceptable. The doctor is not killing the severely injured patient. Rather, the doctor is choosing where to allocate limited resources. The death of the 1 feels tragic but not intentional. This case shows how context shapes moral judgment. Even though the outcome is similar to the trolley problem, the emotional response is calmer. It feels like a professional decision made under pressure, not an act of violence. The distinction between causing death and allowing death becomes morally significant in people's minds. Now consider an even more troubling medical case. You are a transplant surgeon with 5 patients who will die without organ transplants. Each needs a different vital organ. There are no donors available. In the next room is a healthy patient who came in for a routine checkup and is now resting. If you were to kill this healthy person and harvest his organs, you could save 5 lives. When asked about this scenario, almost everyone refuses. The utilitarian calculation is the same, yet the moral judgment is radically different. Killing a healthy person for organs feels like an unforgivable violation. It feels like murder disguised as medicine. This reaction highlights a powerful moral boundary. Most people believe it is wrong to intentionally kill an innocent person, even to save several others. This belief persists even when the benefits are clear, and the suffering avoided would be immense. It suggests that our moral thinking includes firm limits that consequences alone cannot erase. From these examples, 2 broad ways of thinking about morality begin to emerge. One approach focuses on consequences. According to this view, the morality of an action depends on its results. If an action produces more overall good, such as more happiness or less suffering, then it is the right thing to do. This type of reasoning is often called consequentialist thinking. It feels practical, rational, and appealing, especially in emergencies. The other approach focuses on the nature of the action itself. This view holds that some actions are inherently right or wrong, regardless of their outcomes. According to this perspective, intentionally killing an innocent person is morally wrong, even if doing so would save others. This way of thinking is often called categorical or duty-based reasoning. The tension between these 2 approaches runs through all the examples we have considered and explains why people's intuitions shift from one scenario to another. One of the most influential forms of consequentialist thinking is known as utilitarianism. This philosophy was developed by an English thinker who argued that human beings are guided by pleasure and pain. From this simple observation, he concluded that morality should aim to maximize overall happiness and minimize suffering. According to this view, the right action is the one that produces the greatest net balance of happiness for everyone affected. This idea is often summarized as the greatest good for the greatest number. Utilitarianism has strong intuitive appeal, especially when thinking about public policy, laws, and large-scale decisions. It encourages us to look beyond our personal feelings and consider the broader impact of our actions. However, as the earlier examples show, utilitarian reasoning can clash with deeply held moral intuitions about rights, dignity, and justice. The discomfort many people feel with pure utilitarian reasoning raises important questions. If morality is only about maximizing happiness, does that mean individuals can be sacrificed whenever it benefits the majority? Are people reduced to numbers in a calculation? Critics of utilitarianism argue that this approach fails to respect the moral worth of individuals. They worry that it allows for serious injustices, as long as those injustices increase overall happiness. Defenders respond that ignoring consequences can also lead to morally absurd results, where rigid rules cause unnecessary suffering. This debate has no easy resolution, which is precisely why it has persisted for centuries. It forces us to confront what we value more: outcomes or principles, happiness or rights, flexibility or moral limits. Another influential moral thinker argued strongly against treating people merely as means to an end. According to this view, every person has inherent dignity and must be respected as an end in themselves. This perspective explains why pushing the man off the bridge or killing a healthy patient for organs feels so wrong to many people. In those cases, the individual is being used as a tool to achieve a goal, no matter how noble that goal may seem. This approach emphasizes duties, rights, and moral rules that apply universally. It challenges us to ask not only what will happen if we act, but also what kind of action we are performing and what it says about how we value human beings. As we explore these ideas, it becomes clear that moral reasoning is not about memorizing theories or finding easy answers. It is a process of reflection that often unsettles us. Philosophy takes familiar beliefs and makes them strange, forcing us to question assumptions we rarely examine. This can feel uncomfortable, even destabilizing. Once we start questioning why we believe certain things are right or wrong, we cannot easily return to unthinking certainty. This loss of innocence is one of the risks of moral reflection, but it is also its power. By examining our beliefs, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and the values that guide our lives. There is a temptation to escape this discomfort by adopting a skeptical attitude. One might say that since these questions have been debated for so long without resolution, there is no point in trying to answer them. According to this view, morality is simply a matter of personal opinion, and no one view is better than another. While this stance may feel comforting, it does not truly solve the problem. In daily life, we act as if some things really are right and wrong. We make judgments, assign blame, praise courage, and condemn cruelty. Even refusing to judge is itself a kind of judgment. Moral questions are unavoidable because we live them every day through our choices and actions. Philosophy does not promise to make us more comfortable or to give us final answers. Instead, it aims to awaken our capacity for critical thinking and self-examination. It encourages us to question easy assumptions and to recognize the complexity of moral life. This process can be unsettling, but it is also deeply human. To reflect on morality is to take responsibility for our choices rather than blindly following habit or convention. It means acknowledging that our decisions affect others, and that we must be able to give reasons for what we do. In desperate situations, people often say, "You do what you have to do." This phrase captures the raw reality of survival and extreme pressure. When resources are scarce and lives are at stake, moral ideals can feel like luxuries. Yet even in these moments, people struggle with guilt, justification, and reflection. The fact that we later question and debate these choices shows that morality does not disappear under pressure. It becomes more urgent. We may act instinctively, but afterward, we seek meaning and justification for what we have done. What these stories ultimately reveal is that moral reasoning is dynamic. We move back and forth between principles and cases, adjusting each in light of the other. Our judgments are not fixed. They evolve as we encounter new situations and perspectives. This ongoing process is not a weakness but a strength. It shows that morality is a living practice, shaped by experience, reflection, and dialogue. By engaging with these dilemmas honestly, we learn not only about ethical theories but about ourselves. The journey through moral philosophy is unpredictable. It may challenge beliefs you never thought to question. It may complicate issues you once thought were simple. But it also offers something valuable, a deeper awareness of the reasons behind your choices. In the end, moral philosophy is not just an academic exercise. It is a story about human life, responsibility, and the difficult choices we face. And that story, whether we like it or not, is ultimately about us.